Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, today it's Thanksgiving Day and we've got kind of a break in the weather. We had a winter storm come through last night, a little bit of snow, not much, but lots of wind. But today it's fairly mild. It's like 40 degrees here now and little to no wind. So I'm taking the opportunity to do some testing with the Hubsan Zino. So the little Zino, what I have to give kudos to Hubsan for continually improving this product. And one of the things that they have come up with, there have been some people that have lost their drones due to the sudden battery failure. So supposedly they have updated the firmware, and they've got a program in there now that looks at the battery and tells you if your battery has a problem, so that you can land the drone and know not to use that battery. So we're going to take it up and test it out, and I can't remember the firmware numbers, but we'll look at them here before we take off. We'll go through the app and we'll look at the firmware numbers. I upgraded everything. I do remember that the camera firmware, they have reverted back to the 0.3.6, which was the last known good FPV firmware for this bird. But they upgraded the flight control, I think is the main one. So so when I open up the app, we'll look at those numbers so that you'll have them. And then, so I have a battery, not this one that's in it now. This is my battery number 2. That's a pretty good one. But I have my original battery that I started seeing with it. I could fully charge it, put it in the drone, and when it would go up, it would go from 100% to 60% in a matter of seconds. And of course, then it would seem like it operated normally, but of course you'd get much less flight time with that battery. But it tells me that there's something going on with it, and perhaps I'm probably just lucky that I didn't have the bird fall out of the sky with some kind of power issue with the battery. So I'm going to put that one in because we want to test that. We want to see if the software, the flight control software, will tell us that there's a problem with that battery. And then I also have a brand new battery, battery number 3, I marked it number 3, that we'll put in there, and we'll see if it shows anything on a brand new battery too. So other than that, we'll just fly around here a little bit. I am just in a park that's in a school that's right pretty close to my house, so we're not going very far at all. There's a big cell tower here, and I have seen that. Well, I don't know if it causes interference or not. I've had some weird things happen here before, but we'll just fly around that cell tower just for the fun of it too, to see what kind of effect it has. And I don't know, we'll probably, normally I like to hand launch and hand catch this one, but I've got my landing pad here, so we'll try some of Zino's precision landing just because it's fun to do. I just like doing it, it's fun. So anyway, let's get this thing in the air, and we'll take a look at that new flight control software and see if we see anything else. Oh, I also need to mention, right before I came over here on Facebook, Hubsan posted that they are updating the Hubsan app as well. And I went into iOS and looked to see if there was an update, and I haven't seen it yet. But that sounds interesting because they listed a bunch of stuff in there. They also listed the battery, looking at checking the battery, so that is good too. But then also they talked about that there would be time lapse, and God, I'm trying to remember everything they said, like 360 degree photographs, bunch of cool stuff, and it affects not just the Zino but the Zino Pro, both of them. So that'll be fun when that app drops, and when it does, we'll go out and we'll try out whatever new features come with that too. But let's get this thing in the air. And that, let's go ahead and look at the firmware. Yeah, so flight control firmware, you can see FCV 1.2.05, and the FPV firmware is ITV03.6. And then let's see, let's look. Yeah, the gimbal firmware is 3.0.2.8. So gimbal pitching speed, you see there, is at 20%. So, but anyway, let's go back to the main part here. Yeah, it says ready to fly. System is initializing. Let's see. I wonder. Let's switch to video. Let's check our video settings. Obviously, we want to make sure we're in 4K, and we are. And 30 frames per second. White balance is on cloudy day, and we're going to leave it there because it's fairly cloudy today. A little bit of sun, a little bit of both, honestly, but we're going to leave it on cloudy day. I don't see any reason why we can't take off right now, so I'm going to start recording, and we're going to hit takeoff on the app. Make sure you guys can see it on the yeah, you can see it there. So takeoff. So a nice smooth little takeoff there. Let's do the usual and bring the bird in to get a good look at it here. So, you know, with no wind, this is a fairly steady little drone. Use back and forth there a little bit. It's always fun to watch that gimbal work. So anyway, yeah, let's flip it around here, and first we'll do our up and away. You can see the battery is already at 81%, although I have not seen any anomalies as far as battery warnings or anything like that. So I am going to move the camera around here so you can see it. So I apologize for moving that Canon camera, but we're going to do a reverse and up now, backwards and up. I always have a little bit of problem with this drone keeping it perfectly straight. It's got kind of a yeah, see, now we're already down to 56% battery, but there's no warnings. We got 0 battery warnings on the screen, or at least that I've seen so far, and I guess I haven't been looking at the FPV screen the whole time. We're going to drop some altitude here. Let's take a look, and we're staring right at that cell tower that I was telling you about earlier. And we have really good connection here. FPV is good, and we do have an aircraft directly above us, but he is way up there. He has got to be, I'm guessing, at a couple thousand feet of altitude or more. So okay, let's go up just a little, drop the camera, and let's see if we can do a circle around a manual circle around the cell tower. And we can. That is what I'm doing right now. Is I'm just pulling the 2 joysticks apart. The left joystick to the left and the right joystick to the right. %49 battery, but did you see how fast that thing dropped to 50%? I mean, holy cow! I mean, that's definitely a sick battery, but evidently it didn't reach whatever level that the software thinks it needs to be. So I'm going to try something else. So one of the things that's kind of cool about this drone that, you know, you guys have seen me flying the Mavic Mini lately. So we're going to point the, well, better not do exactly yet, but I want to go right directly over the top of this cell phone tower and see if we can do a circle over it, and with automated circle with the automated flight modes on this. And you guys saw me try and do some of that stuff with the little DJI Mavic Mini, and it struggled. So let's see if we can get this thing right in the center. Yeah, battery level is already only 40%. Isn't that something? I mean, this battery is junk. So let's hurry up and do this. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get orbit mode. I'm going to try and get orbit mode. I got it. And we are going to use the aircraft's current location as the point of interest. And now we're going to back it off. We're going to back the aircraft off. We're not going to go very far. Yeah, 17 meters, that's enough. Execute immediately. Let's pick the camera up so that we can see. Put that right in the center. Execute immediately. Let's speed it up. We want it to go pretty quick. And, you know, evidently I may not have had the tower right at the center, but I just want to point out that this is something that the little Zino does pretty darn good. That the Mavic Mini just didn't do very well at. Yeah, so we're down to 35% battery. Yeah, so it's a little bit oblong, so clearly I wasn't exactly centered on the tower. But I just think that's cool that this little guy, you could send it out for something that you want to do a circle around, and it'll do it. And the Mini struggles with that. Okay, we've seen enough of that. Let's stop. Pick the camera up here a little bit. Let's yaw back around. I want to get on Thanksgiving Day here, I want to get a shot of the flag that is on the school building over here. Yeah, battery level's down to 30%, so we will we'll let it. Well, there's no wind, so you're really not going to see much of the flag, much of Old Glory there, but we'll fly towards it a little bit. But my hope is that the you know, whatever our problem is with this battery, evidently it doesn't meet the criteria that Hubsan considers a problem. So, well, with no wind, that's really not much to look at. So I was hoping to get the flag flapping in the breeze there a little bit. But let's turn around and let's kind of go to the opposite corner of the park over here. I don't know if it's exactly a park, more like a schoolyard. I can tell you the locals here kind of use it as a park. So we'll fly out there a little ways. What I would like to see is the drone go into automatic RTH. Now, I don't know if you guys are noticing, but look, it's held 30% for quite a while here. The thing that I'm noticing right now is, look, we have an extremely crooked horizon. So now I've noticed that when you have the camera pointed straight down and then up. So let's see if we can shake it back to, I'm going right and left. And often that will, and then I'm going to hit it with the yaw here. Many times that'll straighten out the horizon, but it doesn't seem to be doing it this time. And that's unusual for this drone. I have typically had pretty good luck with horizon, so that, you know, that's unacceptable. I don't I don't like that. Although look, you can see it it's starting to level out now. Look at that. So I'm gonna jag it back and forth here some more. There, now it leveled out. So you most often see that when you have the camera at a 90-degree angle and then pick it back up. And that doesn't just apply to the Zino. I've seen that with a lot of different drones. And now, look, it almost looks like it went the other way a little bit. It's tilted the other direction now, so I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, it definitely tilted the other way now. That's kind of interesting. It overcompensated. So we've got about 10 minutes of flight, which is more than, honestly, I've seen with this battery in the past. And I noticed all of a sudden that it's not... the battery level doesn't seem to be falling as much at the lower end at all as it did at the top. So I don't know, maybe this battery isn't as sick as I thought it was, because we certainly have had no warnings from the software. Got another aircraft off in the distance, but he is way high up. Yeah, so now it forced itself into return to home, which is good. That's what I wanted to see. So it's turning around, and let's, as soon as it gets over the top of us, I'm going to shut off video, and then we'll see if it'll execute a precision landing. Here she comes. Drop the camera so you guys can see us down there. That's where we're at. I'm going to pick it back up, and I'm going to stop video. And boy, look at that crooked horizon, man. So I shut off video, and I'm going to turn the Canon camera around and get eyes on the landing pad. Boy, it looks pretty darn close. I think it's, yeah, I don't know, it's looking around. It's searching. You can see the target. It's funny how it just hovers there and looks. This is a lot of fun. Hey, it might get it. Look at that. It's moving over the top of it. Although we haven't, a lot of times it'll turn green. That target will turn green when it thinks it's got it. It's moving again. It's fun watching the bird move around. Yeah, so it says the low battery is restricting its ability. So I don't know, let's just leave it be, and let's see how long it takes to land. Down to 15%. So if the battery drops too much, I'll land it manually, but it looks, yeah, it's pretty darn close. I mean, it's just barely off the pad there, as you can see. So not too bad, and of course it was complaining about low battery, causing it not to be able to do that correctly. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch batteries, and we'll put the newer battery there, and we'll see if we see any difference. So I know for sure that we'll likely see that the battery won't fall as quickly as it did with this one. I didn't look at the time, but we easily had probably 11 or 12 minutes flight time on that one. So, you know, for an old battery, that's probably not too bad. Okay, let me get it switched out. Okay, so I restarted everything. I restarted the app, the controller, and the drone. A lot of times I'll just hot swap them. In other words, just shut off the drone, put a new battery in, and leave everything else on. But in this case, just to give it as fair a test as we could, I just rebooted everything so that we can see the difference. And the drone says ready to fly. Oh, by the way, when I picked up the drone, I checked the gimbal to see if it had any catches in it or anything that would keep it from having a a level horizon, and I don't see anything. The other thing to keep in mind there, and I noticed this on the Mini the other day, I think these colder temperatures do affect these drones and the ability of the electronics to react. Those little servo motors, I don't think they're very powerful, so I'm sure that probably has something to do with it too. So let's go back in and look at everything here. Yeah, it's not bound, so we'll do that real quick. Okay, it says good GPS accuracy, but then the screen went blank, and it also says ready to fly, but we can't see anything on the camera. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, guys. All of a sudden we lost the camera view, and we don't have FPV. Look, we have 0 FPV signal. Wonder what that's about. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is we'll just do it one thing at a time. I'm going to reboot the app first, so we're going to shut down the app. Anyway, okay, so we're going to fire the app back up, and we're showing connection. We got all blue lights lit, so we're showing us the RC is connected. Yeah, and I just right then I watched the yeah, we're not getting an RC connection for some reason, or excuse me, an FPV connection for some reason. Don't know why. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is shut down the bird and refire it. Okay, so I turned the aircraft back on. Let's see when it connects here, see what we get. Never seen this problem before, so that's weird. And we had FPV, and then it just for some reason went away. Okay, the RC's got solid lights. It says it's connected. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that was really odd. And look, the camera is out of focus here. It says ready to fly. Yeah, there we go. Oh, the camera must have been pointed down. Man, guys, I have no clue what that was. I see we're down to 95% battery. We're going to start video. And, oh, wants to bind again. Okay, so we're bound via GPS, and that was the point that we lost FPV earlier. Pardon me. So I'm going to hit takeoff on the controller here instead of on the app. And there you see, we got it. And the horizon looks good. Oh, I thought I had started recording, but maybe I didn't. There we go. Now we got recording. Okay, guys, we're going to do the usual reversing up as we do every time. And I saw the drone wandering around there a little bit. Okay, that kind of gives us a good bird's eye view. We have another aircraft that is way south of us and much higher than we are. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point we ought to take a look and wow, so look at this battery. It's already down to 75% as well. So that's a brand new battery. And, you know, I will say that we used it a lot here messing around when we were, you know, trying to get the bird going again. And also, this is the battery that I used when I did the updates to the drone as well. So it looks like our horizon is pretty good there. Let's just go full stick forward here and let's just fly around a little bit. And as you guys know, this drone, it's good for about 8 meters per second, which is about, I don't know, 18 miles an hour, something like that. And I'm seeing a little bit of stuttering. Of course, it was right above me there on FPV. And now look at that horizon again. See, that's something new for this guy. This thing has typically had a really good, solid horizon. So that is disappointing. We're going to stay right within the confines of the park here. We're not going to go over any neighborhoods or anything weird like that. Right over the top of us again. That's another school across the street there, and that little building you see at the bottom of the screen is some kind of fire department training facility. Yeah, I mean, look at we're going through battery pretty quick here. Look, we're down to 64%. Like I said, this is a brand new battery, so I know new batteries need to be charged a few times before you get the full potential out of them. And there again, so I had a little breakup on FPV, but I was turned away from the drone. You always got to remember that. For you local people, that is Locust Grove right there. And we'll go back to the corner of the field, and then let's mess around with some of the intelligent flight modes, and let's look through the you know, they were talking about doing some different things with the app and adding some features. So I don't know, were some of those features added in this firmware update? Let's I think we should go in the app and look around. So let's drop some altitude. Boy, the sun is low in the sky. I can see the drone up there, but it's boy, up against the sun makes it difficult. There's our favorite cell tower. And that's me standing right there. So let's bring it in here. Okay, so let's look through the menu system and see what there is to see here. Pardon me, that's not what I wanted to look at. I wanted to go right here. I can't remember, was VR mode always there? I don't remember VR mode. But anyway, I don't have any glasses anyway, so line flight's always been there, but in creative video, yeah, so we still only have panorama available there, so which is weird. So let's try panorama. Yeah, it's flying too low, so let's go up high, a little bit higher. Yeah, it says it has to be under 5 meters, so let's try that. So let's go back in there to creative video. So I was always hoping that we would get fly to sky and orbit shot, but we never have. So yeah, 360, and yeah, we're gonna put the speed pretty slow here. Man, is that a beautiful red Dodge Durango? That sucker's nice, huh? Pick the camera up a little bit. So you're looking at just about right where I'm standing. There's our favorite cell tower again. So it executes this panorama mode pretty good. Oh, looks like the Canon camera quit. Let me fire it back up. Okay, so yeah, battery level is only 40%, and we've only been flying for 7 minutes. So, and it automatically shuts off video at that. So you gotta remember to start video again. So let's go back into the field. And let's look at maybe some other things that we can try here. And yeah, boy, that crooked horizon, that is really disappointing. I don't know what that's about. That just hasn't been a problem with this. So is that, could that be that new firmware related? I don't know, but it sure is disappointing. But look, it kind of came back there, so it's pretty flat now. Anyway, let's go back into you know, following mode we've done before. Line fly mode, you guys have seen that. Line flight is kind of interesting. So we're going to put the angle at 90 degrees, and we're going to go 60 meters. And let's speed it up about 4 meters per second. And let's take a look at the flight route here, because I don't think we set a flight route. Yeah, we should be good to go there. Execute immediately. And I got eyes on the drone, so. So that's what line fly does for you. I mean, that's just like a, you can use that for like, if you want to do an automated shot, and then you can control the camera. So there it ended, and it just pauses. Back into camera mode, and we will turn it around. Come right back towards us. And back over the field here. So we're down to 32% battery. So we are actually getting less flight time out of this. Well, I think this battery are pretty darn close. I think we got about 12 minutes out of that last one. So it's weird. Although, like I said, this is a brand new battery, so I know it takes, they say you have to go through a few charge cycles before you get the full effect out of the battery. But yeah, it's kind of strange. Okay, so let's grab some altitude. So the other cool thing you can do in orbit mode here is you can use the transmitter as the point of interest, but you have to be within 100 meters to do it. Yeah, and so we're at 45 meters, so we're going to execute immediately. And let's move that speed right up. We're going to hide, and this baby is doing a circle around us, and I suspect that what we'll see is that it will go into return to home before it finishes a 360 degree. I lowered the gimbal there a little bit so you can see where I'm standing. And I'm keeping an eye on the drone. We're well above everything here. Kind of anxious to see at what percentage it will go into RTH. But we definitely are not getting much more battery power out of this guy, this new battery, than we were that old battery. So maybe my old battery is not in as bad a shape as I thought, and it's maybe mostly the way it reads the percentage. Yeah, so it went into RTH at 25%, and so it's ascending to the altitude, which I believe I have set at 45 meters. Oh, looks like higher than that. Well, we'll see how high I have it set. It looks like 50 meters. Yeah, must evidently have it set at 50 meters. So we're going to do the same thing here. As soon as it gets over the top of us and starts to come down, I am going to stop video. Yeah, it's ascending, so I shut off video. And let's see if we get a precision landing. And we have a lot more battery power this time. So as you might recall, that last one, it said that it affected its ability to precision land because of low battery power. yeah, so it's got the target on there. So let's see what happens. She's looking. I'd say, you know, there's enough contrast here. There is no reason why it shouldn't be able to hit it. So it's fun. This is where a hat cam would come in handy, because you guys could see, you could watch the bird kind of move around and try and execute its, you know, find the target. Because it does definitely move around a little bit. So now it looks, well, it almost lost it for a second. It's weird the way it'll almost have it, and then it just seems like it, I don't know why it doesn't, you know, it's quite a ways off now. I'm going to drop the camera just a little so you can see it land. Yeah, and this was further off than last time. And also, look at that horizon. Look at how tilted that horizon is. And of course, it just picked up the camera. It was pointed down 90 degrees, and it's leveling now. So that isn't unusual. So a lot of drones, you'll see when that camera's pointed straight down and it comes back up, it takes it a little bit to find a level horizon. Although this was way worse than that today, so that's definitely disappointing. Let me shut everything down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Okay. So we did a test flight with the little, let me pull it back so you can see the name good there, the little Hubsan Zino. I used just a little, I borrowed one of my wife's hair ties to hold the props down on this little guy. So we tested that new firmware, the, what is it, 1.2.05 or something like that, that was supposed to explain to us if we had a battery issue. And I used my original battery, the one that I thought I had seen issues with, that it dropped the percentage of battery real quick. Although this time we got probably a good 12 minutes of flight time out of it, and it exhibited nothing weird other than that original part where it where the battery percentage dropped initially pretty quick, and then it stabilized and it was just fine. So I'm not sure if I have a problem with that battery or not. This new firmware that's supposed to detect that didn't tell me anything. So I don't know. I'm going to say it's good. I'm going to keep using it. And then the newest battery that I had, battery number 3, first use, so first charge and first use, it seemed to drop pretty quickly as well, although it was more linear the way the battery percentage dropped. I don't think I got any more flight time out of it than I did my old original battery. I mean, we may have got another minute or two, but not much, if at all. Now, that said, I know that the battery, you have to put it through a few cycles before you get the full benefit of what the battery can do. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, really, there's not much remarkable here. I mean, we did a couple of orbits. We did one where we used a point of interest, which was kind of fun, showing the cell tower there as the point of interest. I did a manual circle around the cell tower, and then in the very end there, we did a point of interest of the RC as the center, and it executed that fine and got about halfway through that before it initiated return to home. Flew it around a little bit, so, and I just didn't see really any changes in how the bird operates. The disappointment, the biggest disappointment for me, was the horizon. We had a horribly crooked horizon there, both directions at different times, and I don't know what that's about. Does that have something to do with this new firmware? You got me. I don't know. Or is it because it's relatively cold? It's about probably, well, it's 40 degrees here today. We looked at UAV forecasts. It's 40 degrees. Very little wind, so shouldn't have been affected by the wind. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, so really not a lot to report here. Nothing earth-shattering or no changes. Should you go right out and do that firmware update? I don't know. If your bird is flying like you think it should, I wouldn't mess with it. Why mess with something that's working fine? I mean, I always do those updates because I like to show you guys what we see in them. But in this case, I just don't see that there was anything different there. it will be interesting to see when they get that firmware, or excuse me, the app update that they're talking about. It looks like that's going to give us some new features. So so hopefully we'll see that soon, and when we do, I'll take this little guy. If we get a decent day like today on Thanksgiving Day, a good day to test it, we'll do that. But otherwise, that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. But most of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to look at this video, and we will see you on the next one. Bye now. Little Hubsan Zino. I love this drone. See ya.